challenging wedding venues with off-camera flash. Today, this is the only good pocket of light we have. Right here, this is okay. Everything else you can see behind me, kind of warm, kind of mixed light, not so good, really dark ceiling, nothing that we can really bounce our flash off of. So let's go take some pictures. Now introducing Timothy Musa as host of this video.
Hello everyone, today is going to be based around challenges that I present to Taylor, Jackson, and our lovely models, Austin and Kate, and we're going to pick different locations within this bar that are real life situations where you might want to portrait someone using off-camera flash.
We just found Tim on the street. He was walking by with a coffee and we're like, sir, come on in.
My feet were real
we need you.
Real cold.
He was wearing Crocs in the Canadian winter.
Oh, and I have a flash course that goes through all the basics and all the ways that I use flash on a wedding day, including on camera, off camera, direct flash, and that price tag, that's expensive. But you can sign up to the members website for $40 to the end of the month until January 31st, 2024. And you get access to the flash course as well as everything else, including my presets and all of my courses. And as always, a 100% money back guarantee. You sign up, it's not for you, just let me know, send your money back.
What's the first challenge? What are we doing? So pretend as though this is a wedding venue, and it's obviously a very challenging wedding venue, that the ceiling is dark. There's not much you can bounce off of. There's a mix of kind of daylight coming in from here, but only in this one column.
Yeah.
And then mixing with some TV, mixing with some neons, mixing with these overhead incandescents. And you got to figure out a way to make it look as professional as you possibly can. That right now, quality of light, decent. But as soon as I kind of turn this way, I'm gonna say it's real bad here. Like this, if the couple's sitting here having dinner, like how do you troubleshoot that? Is that our first challenge?
I think so.
All right.
Backlit.
So we're gonna have, you just pretend to be having dinner right here. So in a scene like this, I would kind of walk into it and it's very backlit and it's by a different color of light. This could be daylight or this could be just backlight of a different color. And the way that I would set my flash up would be I would get it as close to them as possible without making it obtrusive. I don't want to just like put it right on the dinner table right in front of them. I would probably have it somewhere about this far away and I would get it out of their line of sight. So if they're sitting having dinner, I don't want this flash popping off every 10 seconds and bothering them. So I'm gonna have it where they can't see it. So somewhere about there. And as you can see, we don't really have much to bounce off of here. You could set up a big softbox. That would be kind of annoying for everyone, especially families sitting over here trying to look at the couple during their dinner or speeches. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bounce, and we have two options for bounce here. One is off of this metal thing, and let's see how that looks first. Here's a test shot with no flash. So that's what it looks like as a base. And then as soon as you add the flash, just bouncing off of this, what was this, tube? So quality of light, pretty decent. And you might think to yourself, like, that's not the correct way to do it. You should be bouncing off something that's white, or you should be finding a white ceiling. You don't always have access to it. And my workaround for that is if it is kicking a weird color cast, say we were trying to bounce off, there's some red beams up here. If that's all you had, is that the next challenge? Sorry, I'm making my own challenges here.
I want you to bounce it off that snowflake.
Tim wants the snowflake next.
It's the only white thing in the space.
Okay.
And I think it's the next challenge.
All right, we're gonna run two options here. One is Tim's first challenge, which is bouncing off of this artwork here. So you might have to hold the snowflake.
I can hold the snowflake. We'll pretend it's a stationary object that doesn't rotate with the wind.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna zoom my flash in. What do we wanna do? We're gonna go to 70. So I'm zooming my flash in, pointing it kind of straight at, let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah. So I am trying to put all of my flash, zooming it into just the snowflake there. And let's see what it looks like. With flash, with no flash, and the comparison.
No talking, just smiling. Thank you.
So abusive, this man. You could go ambient, but with flash, just quality of light really increases dramatically. And that's just off of this here. Now another struggle you might find yourself in is if you're in a barn. So we photograph a lot of barn weddings up here in Canada. And you sometimes find yourself that all you have to bounce off of is wood or maybe some posters. And one workaround to that, so say you can only bounce off of wood right here. So a strategy for this is basically that I use the bounce off of the wood, and when it comes back into the scene, the light is obviously going to pick up a lot of that warm tone and throw that back into the scene. It's not going to be a pure white daylight like the flash is. So I'm actually just going to modify my white balance based on that. So I'm either going to go into incandescent if it's really, really orange, or maybe daylight, or just kind of play around, see how I can get pretty close, or even go into Kelvin and dial something in specific, or just get it close enough in camera and then fix it in post-production. So if you're shooting raw, you have access to any color profile that you want basically in post-production. All right,
what are you dialing your settings down? What are your settings?
Because the flash is really close to them, I'm gonna start at, what do you wanna do? 1/16?
Whoa.
Just looks fine. So as a demonstration here, you can see what the flash is doing, that it's hitting this spot on the wall here, and it's basically throwing all that light back into the scene. And as you can see, it's actually pretty weirdly clean. So it's hitting a little bit of that poster, it's a bit of a dirty bounce, but overall, quality of light, I'd be pretty happy with. So there will be, or there is a video about gelling your flash, and what gelling your flash is basically making it the same color as your environment here. So if you're trying to hide your flash and you're basically trying to turn it into the lights up here, this is how you do it. And then you change your white balance to incandescent because you're trying to model an incandescent light source. There we go. So now, there's also other colors in there too. And I always do my best to kind of hide my flash behind people, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I am not, and you're gonna see it all. As you can see, really warm. Actually, the gel is warmer, the CTO gel is warmer than these lights here. Here we go. So you can also mimic a sunset as well. If you got some trees, you got something to shoot through, you can just make it basically as though it is in fact a sunset. If it's a cloudy day, you just have to make sure you hide it. You can't just put a flash on a stick and then call it a sunset because it's pretty obvious. But if you hide it behind stuff, you make some layers, it's pretty nice. What's the next challenge, Tim? Tim has a question.
I want you to do something a bit more creative using maybe some of the textures in the space.
A texture in the space?
Maybe these wallpapers?
A wallpaper?
Yeah, it'll little intimate, candid moment.
Tim's done it. He's set up a scene. And as you can see, the light is pretty mixed. That their faces are lit by the warm lights here, and their backs are lit from the daylight outside. So one option is you can overpower the daylight, either by bouncing again off of this that's not specifically a white bounce, but it's not gonna pick up too many weird colors and bring that back on the scene. It's gonna stay pretty true to this daylight bulb. And overall, so that's without the flash there, and that is with the flash. Just adds a little bit of cleanliness to the light. Oh, Tim's brought the champagne.
Iced tea and water. Might not be good, but it's a nice prop.
Just diluted iced tea. Beautiful. I think we're gonna set up the flash on the other side and backlight it a little bit. Maybe even do some sort of contrasty where I'm gonna gel the flash. I'm gonna bring in some orange light as a backlight. I'm gonna use the daylight as the main light.
Tell me where to put it, and I'll set it up for you.
Oh, okay. Oh. And even like that bounce off the wall could look good. Let's see. Let's see what it looks like. There we go. We've introduced a new light source. We've completely changed the feeling of the scene. Here we go.
Candid photography.
What's Tim's question?
My next assignment for you, Taylor, is family formals or formal portraits where you want to stop down maybe to like f2.8 or f3.5, and in a space with a very neutral backdrop to it. Say it's raining outside or snowing outside, you can only do family formals inside, and I want the texture to be the barn board over there where the bathroom is.
It's oddly specific.
Yes.
So the first place I would go, speaking outside of off-camera flash, if I had to take photos of family, I would probably put everybody right here so that my back is to the window, and I'm gonna turn my flash off. So a shot like this, I would just ambiently light it from the window back here. I'm always standing in front of windows shooting into scenes. However, if there was something going on that we just couldn't photograph this way, maybe they're setting up the reception or there's just something that is making a very distracting background, we would have to find somewhere else. So Tim has suggested that we absolutely have to use the barn board specifically.
Because the bride really wants the barn board.
Because the bride would really like the barn board.
I do.
And she chose the venue. And we have to go make that work. So sometimes you have to entertain ideas and do the best you can. Sometimes they work out better than your ideas, which is awesome. Sometimes you know they're gonna be not good, and then they're not good in real life also. This is the barn board. And as you can see, not the most wonderful area, but sometimes this is all you got. Yeah. Today, we got hats here. We can't touch the hats. It's illegal to touch those hats. So they're gonna be in the shot. And how do we make this work? Step one, what I would usually do if I had control over the lighting, I would actually turn these lights off. For the demonstration, I'm gonna pretend that we can't turn the lights off and that we're forced to do both. One, you can gel your flash and you can match your flash to the lights in here. Or two, you can overpower everything. Those are basically your only options. It would also be nice to have a modifier in your car. So if you did get pushed into a situation like this, that you could just bring in a softbox or an octabox to create some better light. But I think today, bouncing off of these tubes for the draft system. So with no flash, this is what it looks like. It's not so good. Even if I change the white balance to incandescent and try to balance that, it's still not so good. So let's just overpower the scene entirely, and let's just do 1/4th power on the flash. This is just overpowering the scene. This is just bouncing right off of everything going on above me, which is not necessarily, we'll call that again the dirty bounce. I think that looks pretty good for just being in this. Tim has a question. I can see Tim's hand coming up.
I want to wait for you to finish your thought,
No,
and then we'll go to the next
that's
challenge.
the thought. We got good enough light in a 1 minute period, so.
Your couple's real trendy. They like the direct flash look that the paparazzis kind of do. How would you do that using off camera? Yeah. Just looking at each other, going for a walk like this, and laughing, and yeah, enjoying yourselves. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna take 100 photos. All right, whenever you're ready. There we go. So it's kind of a direct flash look. And hold there for a second, I'm just gonna put this behind. The other benefit of backlight is that sometimes your light just bounces back into the scene. So if you turn it up a little bit higher than you might, so I'm gonna set this up to 1/32, and the light is definitely going to come through. There's a beautiful exit sign there too. It's perfect. It's exactly where I wanted it to be. We'll hide the exit sign.
What about the phone charging brick station? You don't like that?
No, that's fine. We're gonna hide the exit sign. So
Oh,
we're gonna make the exit sign a light.
Okay.
So rather than scrubbing it out in post, the exit sign is now just a big ball of sun. There it is, off-camera flash photography in a challenging lighting environment, hosted by Tim, sponsored by Red I Wish. One day, we try real hard. They're very clear that they only sponsor athletes that do cool things, and I'm allowed to take pictures for them. We've done a shoot for them. Don't forget, get the flash course. It's available to the end of the month. Super special deal. Head on over to the website to find out more. The restaurant is opening now. I hear some ice in the background. And that's all.
That's it.
Bye, Tim.
Until January 31st. $40 to sign up to the members website rather than the regular $60. If you get in, you get to keep that rate forever. If you choose and there's no contract, you can cancel at any time. And also 100% money back guarantee. If you get it, sign up. It's not for you. Just let me know. Send your money back. And everything on the screen is what you instantly get access to, including my presets, all the other downloads, and my courses.